Yo, what's up? It's your boy John from Colder Ice. And I don't know. Let's just deal with this. I was checking out some vlogs today, and one of the questions on one of the blogs or the news groups were talking about owning the customer. Owning the customer. And, when that topic usually comes up when people are talking about being on a platform like eBay or being on a platform like Amazon or any of these other platforms where you don't, quote, own the customer. There's something in there that just bothers me, and it's kind of off topic of even the question about owning the customer. It's really about when you think about this, it is so kind of self-centered, for lack of, I can't get the actual term I want, but it kind of, you ever have something that just makes you uncomfortable, somebody says something in the room and the room gets quiet? That's the way I feel sometimes when people say, well, we want to own the customer. I'm like, what, like a slave? What do you mean, own the customer? Customers are not for sale, there's something about the way it's said and the thought patterns that are around it that just make me uncomfortable. You can't own a customer. The only thing a slave wants is emancipation. Okay? Just get what I'm saying here. If you have that thought that I want to own this customer, the natural reaction is that customer is going to ultimately want to be free. Okay? I know it's kind of like, what are you talking about? But you got to listen to me, man. You can't own the customer. What you can own, though, is the customer experience shopping with you. What you can own is the customer relationship that you have. I don't know, maybe it's something about me that when it comes to actually my job basically is making money. That's my job. When you go to work, that's what you go there to do most of the times, is to make the money. That's my job. So I'm not really all into this whole etherical world of trying to figure out a whole lot of things. When the bottom line goes up, I've done pretty much what I was supposed to do. With the customer experience, you've got to figure out basically how to make that customer comfortable. It's not about, it is not about you. It is about the customer. It's not about what you and I are comfortable with. It's about what they're comfortable with. It's not about how you are going to own the customer. It's about how the customer is going to use you. It is totally, you've got to flip the script, man, because I got to do nothing but make the money. And if I'm making the money by making the customer, number one, happy. It's like your kids, man. You know how you just, every time you see them, you want to encourage them even when they're doing wrong? That's kind of almost like I want to do with the customer. And when I do that with the customer, I own the experience of the customer. I own the relationship I have with that customer. When I remarket to that customer, I market to that customer not in, oh, I want to own you, come shop with me. It's more like, hey, if you got some more needs, I'm here for you. It's really just start thinking not in terms of owning the customer, but in terms of how you can own the experience and how you can own that relationship that you have with the customer. It's, the most, another thing that kind of happens with that, I'm just thinking about this too. What happens when you do that is it basically makes it so organic. And that's an important way to grow that relationship with the customer. So you got to let them, even though you're owning the experience, because the reason why you're owning that whole experience is because you are responding to the customer's needs in a manner that you have over time testing and just, trial and error basically, you know what works. When a customer writes to you, maybe with an incident or a problem, and you diffuse that problem, and the customer ends up happy, now you know exactly what to tell that customer the next time somebody else comes in with a similar problem. Instead of getting all emotionally attached to it and reading the letter, I don't read all the letters that come in. If a customer tells me that something was sent wrong, the first thing I write is I'm sorry. That's the first thing I write. Whether I'm sorry or not, look, it ain't even personal for me. I just know that at the end, if they see I'm sorry at the very beginning, or I apologize, I'm making it look like it's for me, like it's all personal and the customer, man, ooh. But no, basically, I know that that's what makes the customer experience good. That word, I'm sorry, in the email, when we know either we messed up, the post office messed up. See, there's so many times when the delivery people mess up. But it is not for, I don't like if I'm shopping with somebody and there is a delivery issue, the first thing I want them to do is take ownership of the issue. That's all. I don't want a whole lot of, well, that ain't me. Hey, that's somebody else. You need to be contacted. No. Basically, I want you to do on your end whatever you can do, whether that's just giving me the tracking number again, But I want a response from that seller that I'm buying from. That's what I want as a buyer. So if that's what I want, then I should give that to, my customers when they're buying from me. So if there's a problem with delivery, the first thing I say is I'm sorry, and then I go on and respond in kind for the rest of how to resolve the issue. But I remember I was sitting down with somebody at a conference, and I mentioned that, and the first thing that came out of this person's mouth when I said that, she's like, I don't never say I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but you're taking that way too personal. This is about business. On their end, it's very personal. The buyer's end, it's very personal. On my end, it's my job to make it business. It's my job to make sure that when you order that hamburger at McDonald's, it looks just like the picture. Okay? It ain't about being all personal. Nah. It's about making sure that I own that customer experience by making sure our response is calculated to deflate any situation. And that's what I try to do. All right? I don't know. That shit was just on my brain today, so I figured I'd share it with you. This your boy John from Colder Ice. You know the drill. I'm out of here. Peace.